I was at a time in my life, in a period in my life, where I was very definitely going to put my worst foot forward.
How long have you been here?
About 4 years. We built it, and
Yeah.
it's just...
Amid the vast wilderness of Colorado, where morning mist drapes across the mountain slopes and the sunset paints the lake in crimson hues, lies a secluded estate deep within the pine forest Rogers Mountain Ranch. It isn't a movie set or a multi-million-dollar resort, but the real home of two Hollywood legends, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, a couple who have stayed together for more than 40 years, defying every storm that fame could bring. Now in their 70s, Kurt Russell, once the action hero who ruled the box office, rarely appears before the camera. He has chosen to live among the wilds of nature, where the only sounds are the wind whispering through the pines and the evening light falling softly over a solitary wooden cabin in the forest. Yet behind that serenity lies a choice that took all of Hollywood by surprise, because no one ever imagined that a man who once lived amid blockbusters and red carpets would find his truest happiness in the quiet mountains of Colorado. And it is here, in this hidden sanctuary, that Kurt Russell is living the life the world once thought he had lost. So what could make one of Hollywood's most celebrated stars turn away from the spotlight and retreat into solitude? Let's find out, because the answer may just make you see Hollywood in an entirely different light. Before he became one of Hollywood's most enduring figures, Kurt Russell was just a small, wiry boy born in Massachusetts, a place where music, theater, and baseball intertwined right inside his family's modest home. His father, Bing Russell, had once played for the New York Yankees before finding his way into acting. His mother, Louise Julia Crone, was a gentle dancer whose eyes always shimmered with the glow of the stage lights. At night, in that little house, you could hear the sound of a piano mingling with the rhythmic thump of a baseball hitting a glove, two sounds that would come to define Kurt's character: artistic, disciplined, and untamed. When he was just 4, the family moved to California, the land where movie dreams waited just beyond the hills. But back then, Kurt had no desire to chase fame or Hollywood stardom. All he wanted was to become a baseball player like his father. During his years at Thousand Oaks High School, he played second base and quickly gained attention for his batting skills and lightning speed. His father supported that dream wholeheartedly, he once said. Kurt has the eyes of someone born to win. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. At just 11 years old, Kurt Russell landed his first small role in It Happened at the World's Fair. 1963, acting alongside Elvis Presley. It was a brief scene. Elvis walks by, and young Russell playfully kicks the king of rock and roll in the shin, that's all. But it was enough to catch Disney's attention. In 1963, at only 12, he earned his first leading role in the television series The Travels of Jamie McFeeters, a Western adventure produced by MGM. Not long after, Walt Disney himself personally signed Russell to a 10-year contract, turning the boy into the studio's new golden face. Legend has it that on Walt Disney's desk, shortly before his death, there was a note with the words Kurt Russell written on it. No one ever knew why, but for Kurt, it became proof of the special trust Walt had placed in him, a silent passing of the torch from Disney's pioneering generation to its young successor. At that time, Hollywood saw Kurt Russell as the embodiment of American youth. He appeared in a string of family films, such as Follow Me, Boys, 1966. The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, 1969, and The Barefoot Executive, 1971. With his bright face, friendly smile, and natural acting style, he became the ideal image of post-war American youth, energetic, kind-hearted, and eternally optimistic. But Disney's spotlight was both a blessing and a curse. As Hollywood entered the 970 seconds, the era of anti-heroes, violence, cigarette smoke, and raw realism, the image of the perfect Disney star suddenly became a burden. And so the question arose: how could a boy once adored by an entire nation for his innocence ever break free from that flawless, obedient mold? The answer surprisingly didn't come from the movies, but from an accident on the baseball field. Few people know that alongside his acting career, Kurt Russell nurtured another dream: baseball. Throughout his childhood, he played in minor leagues, eventually taking the position of second baseman on his high school team. After graduation, he pursued the sport professionally, becoming a switch-hitting player for the Bend Rainbows, a Class A affiliate of the California Angels, in 1971. A year later, he joined the Walla Walla Islanders, and by 1973, he had moved up to the El Paso Sun Kings. Everything seemed to be just beginning until fate intervened. While turning for a double play early in the season, Russell collided hard with a base runner. A sharp, tearing sound echoed his right shoulder. His throwing arm was severely injured. The rotator cuff was torn, and within just a few games, his performance began to decline. Though he tried to return and continued playing for a short while, with the Portland Mavericks as a designated hitter, deep down, Russell knew the dream was over. He laid down his bat, walked off the field, and returned to Hollywood. This time, he was no longer the bright-eyed Disney boy of old, but a man who had tasted real failure and was ready to start over from scratch. Russell rebuilt from the ground up: small television parts, low-budget independent projects that few noticed. Everything was difficult. The audience still remembered the Disney kid, while he only wanted to prove that he had grown up. Then, fate arranged an encounter that would change his life. On the set of Elvis, 1979, Russell played the title role and met Susan Hubley, a woman with melancholy eyes and a free-spirited smile. Amid the sound of Presley's music and the glow of stage lights, they fell in love. In 1979, they married. A year later, Boston Russell was born a child, carrying within him the music, cinema, and ambition of two generations. However, Hollywood's relentless rhythm soon drove them apart. As Russell's career took off and his filming schedule filled every calendar page, Susan longed for a quieter, steadier life. Gradually, they drifted in different directions. In 1983, they quietly divorced, no scandals, no public drama, just two people who once loved each other choosing to let go at the right time. At the same time, Kurt Russell's career entered a new chapter. In 1981, he reunited with director John Carpenter for Escape from New York. His portrayal of Snake Plissken, the one-eyed, cold-blooded anti-hero, instantly became a pop culture icon. Russell had completely shed his Disney actor image, transforming into a new kind of hero: tough, cynical, and scarred. Throughout the 1,980 seconds, Russell and Carpenter continued their legendary partnership with The Thing, 1982, a horror masterpiece, and Big Trouble in Little China, 1986. During this period, Russell became known for his incredible work ethic. He was the type who would insist on reshooting an explosion scene simply because the lighting didn't feel right, exhausting the crew, but the result was always worth it. His co-star Meryl Streep once said, "He doesn't just act, he lives the character." That same year, on the set of Swing Shift, Russell met Goldie Hawn, the woman who would stay by his side for more than 40 years. Goldie, by then, was already a beloved star and an Oscar winner for Cactus Flower. They had briefly crossed paths years earlier when Russell was just 16. But this time, something sparked. When Russell jokingly flirted by asking, "Do you think you're old enough to go out with me?" Goldie burst out laughing, and that's how it all began. Their love wasn't loud or lavish, and there was no marriage certificate, yet it endured through every judgment and expectation. They built a life together, raising their son Wyatt Russell, born in 1986, and caring for Goldie's children from her previous marriage, Kate and Oliver Hudson. The family often appeared together at charity events and award shows, but rarely spoke about their private life. When asked why they never married, Goldie simply said, "We don't need a piece of paper to prove our love. Paper binds you, we choose trust." Stepping into the new century, Kurt Russell continued to display an astonishing vitality. No fanfare, no grandstanding, just a man who had learned how to adapt to a Hollywood that was constantly reinventing itself. As the age of classic heroes slowly faded away, Russell chose to evolve quietly, yet sharply. In 2004, he made a powerful comeback with Miracle, portraying Coach Herb Brooks, the man who led the U.S. hockey team to victory over the Soviet Union at the 1980 Winter Olympics. His gravelly voice, fierce gaze, and disciplined bearing convinced audiences that he wasn't merely acting. He was channeling the very spirit of America itself. The role earned him an ESPY Award for Best Sports Movie and recognition from the American Sports Film Critics Association, marking a triumphant return after years of silence. A year later, he surprised audiences again with Sky High, 2005, playing a superhero father who was both stern and endearingly humorous. Then in 2007, Quentin Tarantino cast him in Death Proof, part of the Grindhouse Project. Russell transformed into Stuntman Mike, a seductive yet terrifying psychopath, a role that proved his fearlessness as an actor in his 50s. Tarantino once remarked, "Kurt doesn't need to shout to scare you. He just needs to look." In 2015, Russell reunited with Tarantino for The Hateful Eight, portraying John Ruth, a rugged bounty hunter defined by loyalty and grit. The film earned the ensemble cast the Hollywood Film Award for Best Ensemble, with critics calling Russell the soul of the group. That same year, he impressed critics once more in the horror western Bone Tomahawk, a genre-bending triumph that earned him a Saturn Award nomination for Best Actor. From that point on, Russell entered a decade of remarkable resurgence. He appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 22017 as Ego, the divine yet tyrannical father of Star-Lord, a role that brought his image closer to younger audiences. That same year, he played the cool, enigmatic Mr. Nobody in The Fate of the Furious, 2017, followed by a memorable cameo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 2019, a brief but potent reminder that the old legend still stood tall among a new generation of stars. In addition, he received the Disney Legends Award, 2004, a prestigious honor celebrating artists who have made extraordinary contributions to the company's legacy. It was one of Disney's highest distinctions, officially enshrining Kurt Russell among its pantheon of icons, a poetic full circle, from the Disney boy of the past to the man who helped shape the studio's history. And just when it seemed he had stepped back from the spotlight, Russell surprised everyone again with Godzilla x Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, 2023. This time, co-starring with his son, Wyatt Russell, both portraying the same character at different ages. Seeing father and son share the screen became a moving symbol of continuity between past and present, between a fading legend and the generation rising in his footsteps. Across more than 6 decades in the industry, Kurt Russell has never won an Oscar, yet he has never needed one. He belongs to a rare class of actors whose worth isn't measured in trophies, but in time and respect. No scandals, no stunts, no social media. Russell stands in Hollywood like a still stone amid the restless tide of fame. Now, in his 70s, he still flies his own plane and lives with Goldie Hawn on their Colorado ranch, where they raise horses, tend vineyards, and welcome their children and grandchildren during the holidays. When asked why he continues making films, Russell once smiled and said, "I don't act to prove I'm still young. I just do what I love, the same way I played baseball as a kid." So what does that life look like when the stage lights have faded and all that remains are the mountains, wind, and silence? Step through the wooden gates of Rogers Mountain Ranch, the place where Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn have found their true peace. Hidden deep in Park County, Colorado, at nearly 9,000 feet above sea level, Rogers Mountain Ranch feels like a world completely removed from Hollywood. Spanning over 1,250 acres, roughly 505 hectares, this estate is more than just property. It is a sanctuary where two Hollywood legends have rediscovered themselves after decades spent beneath the glare of fame and the weight of expectation. At the heart of the property stands a lodge of more than 10,000 square feet, about 930 square meters, built from mountain stone and natural pine wood. Every detail reflects the charm of a classic mountain lodge: vaulted wooden ceilings, a massive stone fireplace, and wide glass windows opening onto sweeping views of the Rockies. At that altitude, each morning begins with the sound of wind whistling through the pines and the golden light of dawn spilling over the distant lake. A scene so surreal, it's hard to believe Hollywood is only a few hours away. Rogers Mountain Ranch was designed as an off-grid retreat, fully self-sustaining in energy. The power, water, and heating systems were engineered to function independently, environmentally friendly, yet entirely comfortable amid the wilderness. Beneath its rustic simplicity lies careful planning: backup generators, solar panels, and a year-round maintenance system. For Kurt and Goldie, the quiet here doesn't mean isolation. It means freedom, the ability to control the rhythm of their own lives. For most of the year, they stay here, far from the relentless schedules of Hollywood. Kurt often rises early, driving a small off-road vehicle through the woods to check the fences or simply to feed the horses. Goldie spends hours in the garden behind the lodge, tending to rows of organic vegetables and herbs. Together they walk the winding trails leading to the lake, pausing now and then to watch a family of deer appear through the morning mist. To outsiders, it's the stuff of dreams. To them, it's real life, simple, quiet, yet profoundly full. What makes Rogers Mountain Ranch truly special isn't its size or scenery, but the spirit it embodies. This isn't a Hollywood retreat. There are no parties, no glittering guests, only two people who once stood at the summit of fame, choosing to live authentically. Here, Kurt and Goldie aren't stars. They're simply two lovers sharing a piece of land, witnessing each snowfall and every fiery sunset over the Rockies together. And there's another distinctive element in their life here: wine. Kurt Russell is no longer just an action star or cinematic icon. He has also ventured into winemaking with his label Goldie Wines, specializing in Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, crafted from organic vineyards in Santa Rita Hills. He admits that cycling trips with Goldie through the wine regions of France, Italy, and California sparked his passion for wine, and soon he dived in, taking part in everything from grape picking to barrel selection and blending, much like a director choosing his shots. At their mountain ranch, Kurt finds comfort knowing that beyond rest and reflection, he's also pursuing another form of creativity, one that connects soil, art, and freedom in a single bottle. Leaving behind their 1,200-acre haven in the Colorado wilderness, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn also own several other remarkable properties that many admire. Curious what they are? Let's take a look, because the answer might surprise you. One of them is a stunning villa in Pacific Palisades, Los Angeles, where bougainvillea fences bloom year-round and the Pacific Ocean lies just a few blocks away. According to Architectural Digest, the home was built in classic Mediterranean style, featuring red-tiled roofs, wide terraces, and arched, sunlit windows. The interior is bright and airy. Goldie often spends mornings painting or reading scripts there, while Kurt immerses himself in sketching ideas for upcoming film projects. After years of living there, they eventually sold the villa for $6.9 million, closing a chapter of their lives in the vibrant heartbeat of Hollywood. Next is their Vancouver residence, a serene getaway they frequent during filming or between projects. Nestled among the pines of the North Shore, the home looks out over the majestic Grouse Mountains. Locals say it's not unusual to spot the couple strolling through the farmer's market. No bodyguards, no spectacle, just two ordinary people savoring life's simple pleasures. That humility has made them beloved not only in Hollywood, but wherever they go. And of course, there's their property in Brentwood, California, considered the cornerstone of their personal real estate portfolio. According to Wikipedia and Market Realist, Brentwood is a peaceful enclave favored by accomplished professionals, where Kurt and Goldie have invested in long-term properties. But in their hands, those houses are more than assets. They are works of art. Kurt loves woodcraft and architectural restoration. Goldie is passionate about gardens and natural light. Every home they touch carries warmth, intimacy, and refinement, true to their belief that a house should be a home, not just an investment. Yet, despite all the places they've lived and the properties they've owned, one statement from Goldie Hawn, in an interview with Hello magazine, moved countless fans. "Colorado is our real home, because only there among the pines, the snow, and the boundless blue sky have two people who once lived under the glare of fame found themselves again. No longer stars, no longer symbols, just Kurt and Goldie riding their horses into the sunset, over the hills that hold secrets only they can understand." And whenever Kurt Russell leaves his ranch, or one of his homes, the way he travels tells its own story. A story about freedom, grit, and an old-school love for speed. He's never been drawn to Lamborghinis or Rolls-Royces like most Hollywood stars. Instead, people often see him behind the wheel himself, sometimes driving his 1956 Ford F-100, its silver paint weathered, leather seats cracked, the windshield dusted with mountain dirt. Yet the engine still roars with life whenever he hits the gas, pulling away from Rogers Mountain Ranch. He bought the truck years ago from a farmer in Wyoming and painstakingly restored it by hand. Once, a journalist spotted him stopped on a dirt road, helping a stranger change a flat tire, a simple act that quickly went viral, endearing him even more to fans who saw in him the spirit of a real cowboy. With Kurt, there's no line between actor and man, just an honest soul living by instinct. When he's back in California, Russell switches to his vintage sand-colored Toyota Land Cruiser, an off-road vehicle he loves because, as he puts it, it can go anywhere and never gets left behind. Neighbors in Pacific Palisades say they can tell when he's coming home, just by the sound of the engine. The car isn't flashy. Mud still clings to the tires, the scent of old leather lingers in the cabin, and a few scratches on the doors remain untouched, like proud battle scars. Yet it's precisely that ruggedness and endurance that mirror who he is, steady, grounded, and unpretentious. Occasionally, when Goldie Hawn joins him, he still refuses to let anyone else drive. They'll cruise along the Santa Monica coast, playing old country songs and stopping at a roadside cafe, places where no one realizes they're sitting next to two Hollywood legends. But Kurt's passion doesn't stay on the ground. The sky has always been his true second home, the one place where he feels completely free, with no scripts and no cameras. Back in the 1980 seconds, while many of his peers were busy partying in Beverly Hills, Kurt Russell was quietly learning to fly. He spent countless hours at small airfields across California, practicing takeoffs and landings in aging Cessna planes, enduring every jolt of turbulence as the wind shifted. He once said the experience felt like standing in the sky and talking to God. Before long, he earned full certification as a licensed commercial pilot, holding credentials for single-engine, multi-engine, and instrument-rated aircraft, meaning he could operate various types of planes under even the toughest conditions. Among private aviation enthusiasts, Kurt is known not only as a skilled pilot, but as someone who understands the mechanics down to the smallest bolt. He likes cleaning the cockpit himself, checking the oil, and marking his flight paths on paper maps with the pencil habits of an old-school aviator few keep today. In his personal collection is a Piper Super Cub yellow body, white trim, powerful engine, light as a hawk, which he often flies over the Rockies or lands on the meadows surrounding his ranch. He once said, "Flying has taught me more about who I really am than anything I've ever done." Perhaps that's why, as Hollywood grew louder and more chaotic, he turned to the sky to find his own quiet. His passion hasn't gone unnoticed. Kurt Russell has been honored by the living legends of aviation, receiving the prestigious Aviation Mentor Award, one of the highest recognitions for individuals who inspire others in the world of flight. As one article put it, among Hollywood stars obsessed with supercars and yachts, Kurt chooses the cockpit where he can pilot his own destiny. For Russell, flying isn't just a hobby, it's a way of life, a way to stay young, free, and forever moving forward, no matter how fame or age might try to hold him back. And though he may love freedom and distance himself from Hollywood's glare, few realize that his income continues to rise steadily year after year. After more than 6 decades in front of the camera, Kurt Russell has become one of Hollywood's rarest figures, a man who has kept his light shining without ever losing his humility. Though he's stepped away from the red carpet to live among the mountains of Colorado, he still commands a fortune admired by many. An estimated $110 million and nearly $200 million combined with Goldie Hawn. Yet the most remarkable part is how it was all built not through scandal or reckless ventures, but through professionalism, integrity, and a pure, lifelong passion for the art of film. Throughout his entire career, Kurt Russell has never been the kind of actor who floods the media with noise or self-promotion. He chooses his roles sparingly but carefully, and every time he appears on screen, he leaves a lasting impression. From his collaborations with John Carpenter in Escape from New York, The Thing, and Big Trouble in Little China, to the 1,990 Seconds with Backdraft, Tombstone, Stargate, and Miracle, Kurt has consistently proven that he doesn't need controversy to make his mark. At the height of his career, his salary ranged from $5 to $20 million per film, with total earnings from acting surpassing $80 million, an impressive figure for a man almost immune to Hollywood publicity stunts. But Russell's success didn't end with acting. He's skillfully maintained a steady income from the films that became his legacy: The Thing, Tombstone, and Escape from L.A. Still air regularly on Netflix, Disney Plus, and Apple TV Plus, earning him an estimated $1.2 million in annual royalties. Major studios frequently invite him to appear in retrospectives, film symposiums, and Hollywood tribute events, not just to reminisce, but to inspire others on how a star can remain relevant and respected for over 6 decades without resorting to spectacle. Beyond acting, Kurt Russell has also taken part in producing and investing in a number of film projects, including Executive Decision and the Christmas Chronicles movies that balance action with the warmth of family values he cherishes. Through these ventures, he's earned $10 million in additional profit over the years, reinforcing his image as an artist who understands both sides of the camera. Outside the big productions, Kurt still occasionally participates in autograph sessions, film conventions, or memorial events for former co-stars, earning a modest $300,000 to $500,000 annually from such appearances. For him, these aren't side gigs. They're a way to stay connected to the audience that has followed him from his Disney days to his era as Hollywood's cool cowboy. His material wealth reflects two defining sides of his character: freedom and stability. In Colorado's mountains, the couple's Rogers Mountain Ranch stretches across more than 1,250 acres. Anchored by a 10,000-square-foot lodge, often described as a cathedral of wood and stone in the American West. Meanwhile, their Pacific Palisades villa in Los Angeles, purchased for $4.1 million in 2004 and sold for $6.9 million in 2017, demonstrated Kurt's sharp instinct for smart real estate investment. What truly sets Kurt Russell apart from most of his peers is his remarkably disciplined and pragmatic approach to finances, a rarity in the entertainment world. He avoids lavish ventures, brand partnerships, and vanity projects. Unlike many stars who open restaurants or fashion lines, Kurt prefers to keep his wealth stable through value preservation funds and long-term investments that quietly grow behind the scenes. But did you know that a significant portion of Kurt Russell's fortune goes toward philanthropy? The answer lies in the organizations he's supported for years, most notably the Mind Up Foundation, founded by Goldie Hawn to promote mental health and emotional development in children. Today, Mind Up operates in thousands of schools worldwide, offering mindfulness-based programs that teach emotional regulation and reduce school violence, helping kids find balance in an increasingly pressurized world. Kurt doesn't just contribute money. He's hands-on in designing life skill training sessions for children. Drawing on lessons of discipline and self-control he learned from sports and acting. He once said, "Kids need to learn how to be quiet and observe not to win all the time." That simple phrase became a guiding quote, displayed in a corner of Mind Up's headquarters. Beyond Mind Up, Russell is deeply involved with humanitarian and medical organizations across the globe. As a licensed commercial pilot, he has long supported Wings of Hope, a humanitarian aviation group providing medical transport and disaster relief in over 10 countries. During California's wildfire crisis, Kurt personally volunteered to fly aid supplies and medicine to isolated areas, saying, "Flying to help others is the most meaningful flight I've ever taken." In recognition, Wings of Hope listed him among its honorary pilots, a title Kurt has never publicly mentioned. He's also a regular benefactor of the Women's Cancer Research Foundation, where he and Goldie frequently attend fundraising galas, often donating their entire appearance fees to cancer research. A close friend once revealed that Goldie herself had faced health scares in the past, which deepened their commitment to early research and prevention. In addition, Kurt has joined the Listen Up mental health campaign, urging people to learn to listen before trying to convince. He occasionally visits veterans groups or troubled teens, not as a celebrity, but as a seasoned human being there simply to listen and share. Yet, what people admire most about Kurt Russell isn't the checks he's written or the glamorous galas he's attended. It's the quiet, unseen gestures he's never spoken of. In 2010, when actor Martin Short lost his wife, Kurt quietly bought every flower from a local shop and sent them to the funeral with no name, no note, no press coverage. When asked about it later, he simply said, "Someone who's grieving needs to see beauty around them, not who brought it." On another occasion, when an independent film crew ran into funding trouble, Kurt quietly paid for the entire team's meals for 3 weeks. He never told the story himself. He just said, "If a good meal makes them smile, that film has a better chance to live." Those gestures, simple as they may seem, reveal the truest essence of Kurt Russell. A man of few words, never one for grandstanding, yet always leaving warmth wherever he goes. And perhaps, after all the roles, accolades, and fortune, it is that kindness and humility that will remain his most enduring legacy for Hollywood and for life itself. Now, past the age of 70, Kurt Russell appears to have reached a stage that many in Hollywood only dream of: genuine peace. He openly describes himself as a libertarian unaffiliated with any political side, steering clear of debates and public arguments that so often ensnare celebrities. To him, art should connect emotions, not divide ideologies. "I came to movies because I love telling stories," he once said, "not to preach to anyone." From the golden-haired Disney boy to the rugged Western hero, Kurt Russell has proven that integrity and authenticity still have a place in modern Hollywood. More than half a century later, he stands as living proof that behind the dazzling lights, there are still people who live and love truthfully. His journey is a tapestry woven from discipline, passion, and an unyielding thirst for freedom, from the innocent child of Disney to the defiant gunslinger, from the heights of stardom to the quiet life amid Colorado's pine forests, all reflecting a simple yet powerful life philosophy: work with heart, stay honest, and cherish every ordinary moment. In his twilight years, he seeks neither titles nor applause, only mornings shared over coffee with Goldie Hawn, watching sunlight spill through the window where a legend continues to live quietly, faithfully, and true to himself. If you love stories about legendary figures who embrace simplicity in everyday life, just like Kurt Russell, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next journey we share.